So that unit we will be starting. So before that, just let me check whether I am audible to all. Am I audible to all? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I hope that you can see my screen also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So today we are starting with the third unit or third chapter, which is related to performance appraisal and TND, that is training and development. So performance appraisal we have discussed in first unit, as well as we have discussed in second unit also. What is the meaning of performance appraisal? So performance appraisal, according to Edwin Filippo, a systematic, periodic, and so far as humanly possible, an impartial rating of an employee's excellence in matters pertaining to his job, present job, and to his potentialities for a better job. So that is the definition given by Edwin Filippo. What he says is, so far a systematic, periodic, and so far as humanly possible an impartial rating. So how the performance appraisal should be? In simple words, we can say evaluation of performance of employee, his previous works evaluation, whether it was average, whether the work was good, or whether the work was excellent. So that evaluation, as well as how much potential the employee is having, whether the employee will be a good performer next year, or he will be a average performer, or he will be an excellent performer next year. That is checking of potentiality of a person. So what he says is that the performance evaluation or performance appraisal should be systematic and periodic. Systematic means a system should be there, that this is how the organization is going to conduct performance evaluation of employees. The organization as well as all the employees should be knowing that this is the technique of performance appraisal which is going to be used by the organization to evaluate their performance. It should not happen that haphazardly the organization is conducting performance appraisal. For some employees, one technique is used. For some other employees, another technique is used. For five more employees, another technique is used. And for the remaining employee, they are evaluated over the judgment of the supervisor or judgment of their superior. How the superior feels about them, that whether they are good performer, average performer, or more than that, that it is decided only on the judgment of the supervisor or their superior. So that is not a systematic way of doing performance appraisal. Systematic means that a proper technique is developed, that this is how, with the help of this technique, we will be taking the performance appraisals of the employees, as well as the employees are also aware that this will be the technique used to find out their performance evaluation. That then we can say that it is systematic. Periodic means that it should not happen that for 3 years the organization has not conducted any performance appraisal. After 3 years, it conducts a performance appraisal. After that, again after 1 month, it conducts a performance appraisal. Again after that, after 4 months, it conducts a performance appraisal. So that should not be the method used for performance appraisal. What he expects is that it should be systematic as well as periodic. Periodic means that organization should have a policy that after 6 months we are going to evaluate the performance of the employee. After 1 year, we are going to evaluate the performance of the employee. So periodic period should be fixed, that after 6 months, after 9 months, or after 1 month. And that should be followed continuously. It should not happen that the organization was having too much of work, so that they skipped this part of making performance appraisal of the employees for say 1 year, for 2 year, for 3 years, or for more than that. And when the organization was having less orders or less work, then they decided that every month we should be conducting performance appraisal or performance evaluation of the employees. So that is not the correct method. Correct method is that period should be fixed, whether you are going to appraise your employees after 6 months or after 1 year, and it should be known to the employees also. So a systematic, periodic, and so far as humanly possible impartial rating. So far as humanly possible. So here the expert who has given the definition, Edwin Filippo, what he is saying is that so far as humanly possible. We all know that we are human beings. We have feelings, we have emotions. So we may get attracted towards some person. And because of that attraction, there can be variation in the rating of the supervisor or rating of the superior. If a manager is having a close relation, or he is having a very good relation with a subordinate, then when the manager is rating his performance, automatically, as he is having, say, a liking towards that subordinate, he will rate his performance slightly better than what it is actual. So that is what he is expecting, is that appraisal system should be such that so far as humanly possible, as far as possible, it should be impartial. We cannot guarantee. If anything we are performing with the help of machines, we can guarantee that if is this input is given to the machine, the output of all the machines which are same in nature will be same. 2 plus 2 is always 4. So that is fixed. But when we talk about human beings, we know that two human beings are not similar in nature. When any two human beings are not similar in nature, there are chances that there can be partiality in the performance appraisal too. So what is expected is, so far as humanly possible, whatever, till which extent it is possible for human beings, the rating should be impartial. Because if the ratings are impartial, then only it will be beneficial for the organization. If the ratings are partial, say average performer is being rated as the best performer of the organization, then in the long run, it will be loss for the organization. So how it should be rated? Impartially. It should be impartially. We cannot guarantee that 100% it will be always, but it should be at least 99% or more than 90% or more than 95%. The rating should be impartial in nature, then only it will be benefiting the organization. So a systematic, periodic, and so far as humanly possible, an impartial rating of an employee's excellence in matters pertaining to his present job as well as his potentiality for a better job. So both things are rated there. His performance of last 6 months, performance of last 1 year as per the rule of the organization, as well as his or her potential for future jobs. So that is the meaning of performance appraisal. In case of any query, please stop me and you can raise your query. Now, why to measure performance? Number one, to give information about the performance of employees on the job. So performance, why we are measuring performance? Why there is a need that organization should measure the performance of the employees? So we have listed some points that we are going to discuss why this is to be measured, why performance is to be measured. First one, to give information about the performance of employees on the job. To give information to all the employees who are being appraised, whether they are doing good job or there is a scope of improvement in their performance, or they are, say, the best employees of the organization. So whatever their performance is, that feedback is shared with the help of performance appraisal. So those who are not giving their 100% or who are lacking in the performance, they can, say, polish their skills, they can upgrade their skills, and they can improve their performance. Next one, to provide information about the employees' relevant strengths and weaknesses. It provides employees what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. So on the weaknesses, if I know that this is my weakness, then I will be able to, then only I will be able to work on those weaknesses. Suppose if I am, I have stage fear is there. I have got a weakness of stage fear. Now, when I will come to know that I have got this particular weakness of stage fear, then only I will be able to work on that. Otherwise not, I'm not aware of my weakness. But when I will come to know about my weakness, then only I can overcome that weakness with the help of certain techniques. So that is to provide information about relevant strength and weaknesses. Generally, as a human being, our tendency is that we always concentrate on our strengths and we neglect our weaknesses. So we expect that everyone should concentrate on our strengths only, and we try to shadow or we try to close down our weaknesses. We try to make the other person believe that we do not have this weakness, we have this strength. So when, with the help of performance appraisal, the employees are given information about both, that these are your strengths, but with those strengths you are having this weakness also. So it indicates that if you work upon your weaknesses, you can convert your weakness to strength. So that is the second why to measure performance. Next, to provide information so as to identify shortage in employee regarding ability, awareness, and find out training and development needs. With the help of performance appraisal, the organization will come to know that how many employees require training and that to which type of training is required. Because with the help of performance appraisal, the organization will come to know whether the employee is performing well on the job or not. If not, then the manager can ask the employee, he can go to the detail of employee's performance, why the employee is an average employee, why he is not improving his performance. And if he come to know that because the employee doesn't have that required skills to be a good performer, to be a better performer on that particular job, he doesn't know 100% how to do his job effectively. So in that case, that particular employee can be deputed for some type of training program so that he can improve his skills, and when he is back from the training program, then he can improve his performance also. So with the help of this performance appraisal, the organization comes to know that who are the employees who are lacking in some sort of skill which is adversely affecting their performance on the job. If the organization comes to know, then they can plan accordingly the training and development program for these employees. Next, why to measure performance? Why to measure performance? To avoid grievances and disciplinary activities in the organization. Grievances, we all know that when it's a complaint, it's a written complaint related to working condition in an organization, that is called as grievances. When performance appraisal is done, when performance is measured accurately, impartially, then there are less chances of grievances and disciplinary activities. Now, grievances occur when a person feels that he has performed well, but he was not rated properly by the superior, as he and the superior doesn't have good equation. Only because of that, his good performance was rated as average performance. If this thing happens, then automatically there will be a grievance. Now, this particular employee will have a grievance, a complaint against the rater, that is his superior. So if performance appraisal is impartial, if the performance measurement technique is impartial, then there are less chances of such type of grievances or complaints. Next one. It is an ongoing process in every large scale organization. It's a continuous process. It's an ongoing process, as we have discussed, that it should not happen that after 1 year, after 2 years, the organization is conducting appraisal. After 5 years, the organization is conducting appraisal. It should not happen. What is expected that it should be periodic in nature. Periodic means regular in nature. After every year, the organization should have performance appraisal of its employees. So that was related to why to measure performance. Now, use of performance data. Here we are talking about the data which is gathered after performance appraisal. So use of that performance data that we will be discussing. Now, performance appraisal data can be used in numerous human resource functions. First function is human resource planning. Planning of human resource. Now, with the help of performance appraisal, the performance of individual is is checked, is monitored, and the organization comes to know that how its employees are performing, who are the best employees, who are the good employees, who are the average employees, and who are the employees who have not improved their performance. Now, with the how it helps human resource planning. Now, there can be 4, 5, 10, 15 employees in the organization who are not improving their performance. During the last appraisal, it was realized that they lack certain skills. So that type of training was provided to them. But this year also, again, their performance is not showing any improvement. So if after giving 4 5 training to the employees, if their performance is not improving, such type of employees should be removed and new employees should be recruited in the organization. That is the requirement of the human resource management. Now, the strategic human resource management, it believes that one time training can be given, 2 time training can be given, 3 time training can be given. But now it is up to the employee to upgrade himself or herself, upgrade his skills if he wants to stay in the organization. If he or she is not improving his or her skills, then the organization has no option but to remove that person and recruit new person, because the organization always wants to be successful. The organization always wants to be more and more profitable. Because of these persons who are not performing well on the job, even after investing money in them, with the say by giving them training, by giving them other skills required training, still if they are not improving, then these people should be removed. So with the help of this, it helps with the help of performance appraisal. One of the benefit or for the data can be used for human resource planning, that if 5 people are removed from the organization, 5 new should be recruited in the organization. If 2 or 3 people are promoted in the organization, then again these 2 3 vacant positions are to be filled. So again, it is beneficial in this way to the human resource planning. Next one, recruitment and selection. We have already discussed that how many people are to be recruited. The people who are removed are to be replaced. The people who are transferred are to be again recruited. More people to be recruited. Then people who are promoted because of their good performance. Again, if their present jobs are vacant, present positions are vacant, again these people are to be recruited. Next one, training and development. With the help of performance appraisal data, the organization comes to know that how many people require training and which type of training should be given to them. Next one, career planning and development. When we talk about potential of employee, performance appraisal doesn't talk about the previous performance of the job, but it is also looking into the potentialities of the employee for future jobs. How much potential the person is having. If the person is having good potential, then that potential should be developed. If the manager of the organization is having a lot of potential, he is showing through his good performance, then that manager can be deputed for various development programs, say leadership training, EQ training, or other sort of training can be given to this particular employee, so that that manager can improve his skills more, and after some time he can be considered for position to higher authority, a higher position, he can be promoted to higher positions. Next one, compensation programs. Compensation programs, again, very simple. Here, compensation program means wage and salary administration. So, salary of the employee. Now, with the help of this performance appraisal data, the organization comes to know that who are the employees who should be given incentives, who are the employees who should be given more salary, Who are the employees who are not eligible for increments or incentives? Because good performers are always eligible for better salary, better incentives. The person who is not performing well, he cannot be considered for better salary and better incentives. Next one, internal employee relations. If impartial method is used for rating the performance of the employees in the organization, or impartial performance method is used, then there are more chances that the employee relations within the organization will be good. But if the employees feel, a group of employee or individual employee, they feel that their performance is not rated properly, then there will be there will be the relations between the internal relation within the organization will not be cordial, will not be good. Next one, assessment of employee potential, that we have already discussed. So not only the present job is studied, but the potential of the employee for future job is also checked. Next is objectives of performance appraisal. What are the objectives of performance appraisal? Very simple objective. We will have a very quick discussion over the performance objectives of performance appraisal. So first one, providing feedback. Very simple. The one of the objective of performance appraisal is that to provide feedback to all the employees in the organization, that your performance was at this level. That is providing feedback. You were considered as a very good performer, a good performer, or average performer, or your performance drastically needs improvement. Next one, facilitating promotion decisions. We have already discussed those who perform better, they are definitely considered by the organization for promotions. Next one, facilitating layoff or downsizing decisions. Layoff and downsizing decision means removing the employees. To downsize means to remove the employee, to decrease the strength of the employee. Now 500 workers are working in an organization, 500 employees are there in the organization. Now to downsize the organization, what is required is when 5 or 10 employees are removed from the organization, then we can say that the organization has gone for downsizing. That means they have reduced their size by 10 from 500 to 490. So that is called as downsizing. Layoff means when people are not provided with job. They are present on the job, but because of some reason which is, say, not in the hands of the employer, when the employees are not provided with job, that particular concept is called as layoff. Layoff is already always temporary in nature, whereas removal may be temporary and permanent in nature. So it facilitates layoff and downsizing decision. With the help of performance appraisal report, the organization comes to know that who are the persons who are, after giving repeated training, they are not improving their performance. If one time they are not improving, two time they are not improving, three time they are not improving, fourth time they should be removed from the organization. So that is how it facilitates layoff and downsizing decisions. Next one, encouraging performance improvement. So one of the objective of performance appraisal is that it encourages performance improvement. How it encourages performance improvement? Very simple. All the employees of the organization, they come to know that those who have performed very well in the organization are given more salary, are given more incentive, are given more rewards by the organization. So everyone who is aware of that fact comes to know that next time if we improve our performance, we will be receiving more salary, more promotion, then more benefits and more incentives. So everything more will be we will be receiving if we improve our performance. So this way it encourages performance improvement. Next one, motivating for superior performance, that is one and the same. Setting and measuring of goals. So every organization at the start of the year, they set a goal, and with the help of performance appraisal, the goal, it is measurement is done whether the goal which is set, which was set by the organization, was achieved or not. If not, why it was not achieved. If it is achieved, then it is very good for the organization. Next one, counseling poor performance. As we have already discussed, that it is not that once a person is not performing well on the organization, directly he is removed from the organization. One chance should be given, two chance should be given, three chance should be given, and then he can be considered for removal from the organization. So before that, what can be arranged for him is counseling poor performers. Now, once the organization comes to know that 10 persons or 50 people or 20 people from a lot of say 500 people or 500 employees in the organization, they are not performing well on their job. Now, these employees can be counseled by the organization, by the manager or by a professional counselor as per the policy of the organization. These employees can be counseled so that they can try to improve their performance in future. Next one, determining individual training and development needs. With the help of performance appraisal, as it is done for individual employee and not for group employee. Please remember that performance appraisal is done for each and every employee of the organization. It is not done for the entire organization as a whole, but it is done for each and every individual employee. That is why, to determine individual training and development needs, the organization can find out the individual employees training and development need, that what is the skill in which that particular employee is lacking. So that can be noted down, and accordingly that type of training can be arranged for that particular employee so that he can improve his skills and he can be a good performer next time. Validating hiring decision. Validating means approving the hiring decision. Hiring means recruitment. So with the help of performance appraisal, the recruitment decisions can be validated, can be approved. Now, how it can be approved? The logic is very simple. It is based on logic, and then the logic is that with the help of performance appraisal, the organization will come to know whether at the time of recruitment, right type of person was selected for right type of job or not. If more people who are recruited are performing good on their job, it means that the hiring decisions or hiring methodology was correct. If many people in the organization who were hired recently, they have not performed well on the job, it means that the hiring methodology needs some sort of change, needs some sort of say upgrading. So that is how it validates hiring decision. More people are performing well, the hiring was done in a better manner, that hiring process was good. More people are not performing well, hiring process was not good, it was having some problems, so those problems should be studied and those problems should be corrected. So that is how the performance appraisal helps in validating the hiring decision. Next one, improving overall organizational performance. Now, what will happen if, say, for a period of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, no performance evaluation is done, no performance appraisal is done by the organization, and the organization is increasing the salary as per the seniority of the person in the organization. And after 5 years, the organization has a policy that after 5 years, we will think of organizing or doing performance appraisal of the employees. Now, if such thing happens, we can say that there will not be growth of the organization, or there will not be improvement in the organization functioning. Why? Because everyone will feel that in this organization, everything is seniority based. Everything means promotion is seniority based, incentive seniority based, salary seniority based. So why should we put our extra effort in improving our performance? So whatever we are doing is absolutely correct, because even if we put our more than 100%, we are not going to receive anything, because the policy is as per seniority. So that is why it is said that every year, at least every year, the performance appraisal should be there. So every year, the organization should come to know that whether they are moving in the right direction, or there should be some changes in its policies. So that is how performance, one of the objective of performance appraisal is to improve overall organizational performance. Now, the techniques or the methods of performance appraisal we will be discussing. Broadly, these methods of checking the performance or evaluating the performance of employees in an organization they are divided, or they are categorized into two broad categories. One category is called as traditional methods or old methods or past oriented methods of performance appraisal. As the name itself suggests, that they were being used in past. It is not that they are not used at all in nowadays. They are being used, but the frequency to be used by the organization in present day is very less. So they are past oriented method or traditional methods of performance appraisal. What these methods are, one by one we will be discussing. Very simple methods, but we should be knowing that what these methods are. First one is graphic rating scale. Now, graphic rating scale. Now, we all know what is graph. So graphs are prepared for individual employees, and their performance is rated on the basis of that particular graph. Bars are drawn on the graph, that who is a good performer, who is an average performer, who is the best performer, or who is not so good performer or bad performer. So ratings are given on the basis of O. O means outstanding, then V is very good, G is good, I is improvement needed, U is unsatisfactory, and N is not rated. So again, general factors are given. For example, you can see on the screen that quality. On quality, again, the person is to be rated by the supervisor or by the superior. Now here two people are involved. One, the person who is doing the rating, and the person who is being rated. Now, on what parameter the person should be rated, it depends upon organization to organization. The example is very general in nature. First parameter can be the quality output of the employee, whether the output which is being produced by the employee is of best quality or not. So general parameters or general factors are, you can see on the left hand side, general factors are there. Under general factor, point number 1 is related to quality, and ahead of quality or next to quality you can see the rating scales also. So O, V, G, I, U. O is outstanding. So if the rater thinks that Mr. X is or his production is very much quality in nature, whatever he is doing, his quality is the best, or he has gone beyond the benchmark set by the organization, or his quality touches the benchmark set by the organization or the quality standards of the organization, then the rater will tick in the box which is next to O. O means outstanding, that his quality, his production quality is outstanding. Then if he feels no, it is very good, sometimes the quality is not so good, his production quality is not so good, then he will put a tick mark in V, that is very good. If the rater feels that the quality is only good, it is not touching the standard set by the organization always, then he may tick in good category. If often the quality doesn't touch the set benchmark of the organization, wastage is more, quality is not up to date or up to the mark, then he can tick in the column of I or box related to I. I means improvement needed. So with the help of this, he will be, rater will be, what rater will be doing? It is not that only one person will be rating the performance of all the employees of the organization. It is superior and subordinate. If the superior is having control over 20 employees of his department, then that superior will be rating the performance of those 20 employees only, not of other departments. And on that basis, he will be showing the presentation in the form of graphs, that this employee is excellent performance, performer, this employee is good performer, this employee is average performer, and that is called as graphic rating scale. Next one is checklist method. Now, what is checklist method? Everyone is aware of what is checklist. Now, checklist, we are aware of that if we are organizing some party at our place, or if we are organizing a program, the normal practice is that we prepare a checklist that what all arrangements are required to be completed, are to be done, and we keep a tick that okay, we have completed this task, we have completed this task, we have completed this task, and 2 or 3 tasks are remaining. So that is called as checklist. Why we are making such type of checklist? So that we can conduct our program smoothly, and there are no problems in the conducting the particular program. So that is why checklist is prepared. So such type of checklist is also prepared by the rater in the organization, and he puts a tick mark over the performance of the employee. Now we will just I'll just read out the checklist method. The checklist method requires the rater to select statements that describe employees' performance and characteristics. The rater may be his immediate boss. The items are assigned weights on the checklist depending upon each item's importance. The result is called weighted checklist. Now, we can see there are certain statements given. First statement is employee works overtime when asked. Second, employee keeps workstation or desk well organized. Third, employee cooperatively assists other who need help. Fourth, employee plans action before beginning of job. So these are the statements which are to be checked. So that is checklist method. Now these statements, again, these are general in nature. The statements can vary from organization to organization. So in the definition itself of checklist method, we have discussed that weightage is provided to those statements. The statement which is most important related to the job of the organization, in the organization, that particular statement is given more weightage compared to the other statement. So we can see that point number 1, where employee works overtime when asked, is given a weightage of 6.5 marks. Out of 100, suppose 6.5 is given to this particular question or this particular statement. Now here, the organization believes that the person who, without any problem, who accepts that yes, okay, I'm ready with the work time, whenever he is being asked by the superior that today you have to stay for 2 more hours, you have to stay for 3 more hours, because there is some urgency to be completed, to urgent work to be completed in the organization, and the person readily accepts that, and he stays and he completes that particular task. So for that particular organization, say this particular statement carries more weightage. So the person who always accepts or who always obeys the orders related to overtime of his superior will be given 6.5 marks by the superior. Next is, or it can be 6 or it can be 5 also. It depends. This is the maximum weightage we are talking about. Then the employee keeps workstation or desk well organized. 4 is the weightage given. So the person who keeps his workstation clear, nice, then that person is given a weightage of 4. So accordingly, this checklist method is prepared and weightage is given, or marks are given, ratings are given to the employees whose performance is to be evaluated. So that is related to checklist method. Now the third one is annual confidential report, or it is also called as ACR. As the name itself suggests, annual means yearly. Confidential means not to be shared with anyone. Report means the entire report of his performance. So that is annual confidential report. When a superior prepares a report, annual report, which is not shared with the employee, which is not shared with the other employees of the organization, and which is directly submitted to the higher authority of the organization, that report is called as ACR, or annual confidential report. So that is not shared with anyone, but it is submitted to the higher authority of the organization. Now what happens in ACR is that whatever the superior feels about how was the performance of the person whose performance is to be evaluated. Now supervisor is there, and that supervisor is controlling, say, 10 employees. Now he will be making 10 different reports of employee A, of employee B, of employee C, and accordingly till 10th of employee. So he will be preparing 10 different reports. He will not be sharing these reports with the employees on whose performance he is writing those reports. And after writing the complete report, that whether the person is good performer or a better performer or average performer, so whatever his performance is, he has to write it, in a written form, and he need to submit it to the higher authorities. A proper format is there of annual confidential report. That format is to be filled, and that report is to be signed by the superior who is making that report and need to be submitted to the higher authority. And as it is confidential in nature, it cannot be shared with the employees, concerned employees in the organization. So that is called as annual confidential report. Next one is essay method. Essay method, everyone is aware of what is the meaning of essay. It is same that in schools we used to write essay on, say, my favorite, say, color, or my favorite pet, or any my favorite leader. So on these topics, everyone of us, when we were in school, we used to write essay. Essay is on a particular topic when you are writing information related to that topic only, and that particular thing is called as essay. So same thing is done here also. In this type of essay method performance appraisal, what happens is the employees performance is written in the form of essay by the rater. If superior is having a control of, say, 5 employees, so he will be writing 5 essays with the names of those employees. He will be pointing out the details about their performance, how their performance is. So in the form of essay, and then he will be submit it to the higher authorities. So that is called as the performance appraisal method related to SA method. Now, next one is pair comparison method. So as only 2 minutes are remaining, we will stop here. And tomorrow, when we will be meeting at 6 a.m., then we will continue with it. So we will stop here. Thank you all for joining today's session. Tomorrow again, we will be meeting at the same time, that is 6 a.m. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.